You might have been wondering why most times when you bake your bread, it's not fluffy, it's not soft, it's just hard and somehow scattering. Let's look at the 10 factors that make your bread hard so that you correct those mistakes and get it right. Prepare a good fluffy bread and sell. Now, before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe. Click that like button as an act of appreciation for more information like this. Having said that, let's go straight to the video. So the first one is flour type, the type of flour you're using. Now, in most cases, you encounter flour that is low in protein. Now, if the flour does not have enough protein in it, maybe if the ratio of cassava flour to wheat flour is high, it will definitely affect the fluffiness of the bread. And so whenever you are buying your flour, you should ensure to get a good flour that has enough protein, because it is the protein that forms the gluten, and it is the gluten that makes the bread to rise and become elastic. And so if the protein is not enough or it's not efficient, your bread will not be fluffy. Fact number 2, insufficient water. And most people, when you are mixing your bread, you do not add enough water. You just, especially those that use the milling machine to knead, you want the dough to be strong so that it will be easy to knead and easy to mold. But in turn, it will affect the fluffiness and softness of your bread. And so you need to add enough water. Make sure that your dough is soft, and in turn, your bread after baking will be so soft and fluffy. So sufficient water is required in bread. And this is why you should look for the right recipe. The third point is pour proofing. As a beginner, you may not have the patience. You are not sure whether the dough is rising. At least you should be patient and allow your dough to rise to at least 80% before sending it into the oven. So if your bread did not proof well, definitely it will be hard. It will not be fluffy. It will not be soft. And so allow your bread to dry, your dough to rise, so that you have a fluffy bread. Let's look at number 4, weak or dead yeast. Sometimes the type of yeast we buy, most of them are not good. They are bad or weak. So I always recommend the wet method. You can start with water, maybe warm water or lukewarm water. Add the yeast, add your sugar, stir it or mix it. If you're using a spiral mixer, mix it slow, mix it for 2 minutes and allow it to rest for another 5 minutes. That way you will see bubbles on the mixture, and it's the simplest way to test and know that your yeast is active or not. So after 5 minutes, there will be little bubbles and foams around. That way your yeast is already active and you can use. If your yeast is not strong or is not active enough, that will in turn affect the proofing rate of your dough. So if your dough is not proofing the way it should, that means in turn your bread will be hard. And so use the right yeast, the right quantity, allow it to proof before baking. Let's look at number 5, mixing. This is one thing that people take it for granted. They think that once you have the recipe, you can bake bread. It's a lie. Mixing is a different ball game altogether during this process of bread production, cake production, any pastry. Mixing is very, very important. One lady invited me to her bakery here in Port Harcourt. So when I got there, the problem was mixing. The baker was not patient enough to allow the dough to give the signs, to display those signs that mixing is complete. Within 10 minutes, they are done mixing, molding, and packing. I looked at it and I smiled. So all I did was to prepare my own, mix it in my own way, and the problem of spoilage and hardness of bread, collapse, and all those stuff was solved. And so mixing is very important. You need to patiently mix your dough properly until signs of complete mixing are displayed on the dough, and then you can cut, mold, pan, and bake. Let's look at the next thing, which is number 6, wrong recipe ratio. What I mean by this is the ratio of ingredients, your combination, the whole recipe, What is the combination ratio? Some of these persons that claim that they have recipe, the quantity of salt or the quantity of preservative is too high. And once one of them is too high like that, once one of the ingredients is more than it should, it will definitely affect the texture and the quality of your bread. And so you should be able to get the right ratio of each component, each of the ingredients, add the right content, the right amount, the right quantity, so that it will give you the right correct result. Good bread, good loaf of bread that is soft and fluffy. But if you just put things anyhow, mix, no, it will be hard. Your bread will come out hard. You'll be confused. You may not know why the bread is not doing well. This one is no. A lot of problems and complaints will be there. So get a recipe that is of right ratio. Number 8 is excess preservative. If you use too much preservative, or all for the fact that you want the shelf life of your bread to be long, below, you are destroying that bread, because some of the preservative also may in turn have a slight bitter taste, which is not good, and customers will complain. Then after 2 days, that bread will start to develop hardness, and it will be so strong and hard that you'll be thinking, what really happened? I mixed it well, I did everything correct, so what is bringing this spoilage? It's just excess of preservative. So use the right amount. Most times when you buy all these things, check the recommended quantity on the sachet, on the pack, on the can, so that you will know the recommended quantity for that particular ingredient. Let's look at this surprising one. Number 8 is fan. Fan. You are surprised, right? Yeah. Fan is a dehydrator. So when you bake your fluffy bread, you are surprised most times that when you bake your bread, it's soft. From the oven, it's very soft and nice. Most people don't know that fan is a dehydrator. And let me cite an example. If you wash your clothes in the night and you don't have a dryer, and you spread it close to the fan, the next 2-3 hours, you find out that that cloth is dried off. Why? Because the fan blew off every moisture. The same thing happens to your bread. If you keep your bread close to the fan, within 2-3 hours, the bread start to be strong, develops, start to solidify, start to develop a kind of strongness, the surface, and then gradually it will be the whole bread. And so it's something that you shouldn't use in your bakery. Now let's look at the next one, is low temperature. If you are baking at low temperature, definitely your bread will collapse. And after collapse, maybe after 30 to 40 minutes, the bread will be baked. If you bring it out, it's very hard. In summary, for your bread to be fluffy, it must have the right flour, which is a flour that contains protein. There must be sufficient water, and you must allow it to proof properly, and also use the right quantity of yeast, active or instant yeast. Your yeast must not be weak. You must mix properly. Also, the recipe ratio must be correct. You must also not add excess of preservative just to make your bread to last longer. You should remove fan from your bakery and bake at the appropriate temperature, which is about 180 to 220 degrees centigrade. You should also prevent collapsing, and don't bother to bake any collapsed bread dough, because it will give you wrong loaf. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and we will bring more to your side. God bless you.